afternoon and welcome to episode 211 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. We are live here on Saturday afternoon to cover the last three graded stake races in New York. We just saw a thrilling finish in the Demoiselle. We'll be talking about that race too, as the first race we'll be discussing today and talking about and analyzing is the Remsen Stakes. Please make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Smash that notification bell so that you know when content will arrive, and also hit that like button. All of that will help us here at the HHH Racing Podcast tell people to join our wonderful family and check us out on YouTube. You can see on the bottom of the screen my name tag, @HKravitz, where you can reach me through Twitter. And then the bottom of the screen, it just passed there on the scroll, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com is where you can find me through email. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Also, you should check out the fantastic Power Picks. I do not have a description below the video player. I will get that out on our first commercial break, but there's the information there. It's on Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. We had several people just recently subscribed for today's Power Picks. Hopefully they're going to be crushed out of the park. And also we have a fantastic website that you can find out more information about the pod, hhhracingpodcast.com. All right, let's bring on I have two fantastic gentlemen that'll be with me today, talking about the Remsen, the Go for One, and then, of course, the Cigar Mile. First, let's bring in from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco, and from right here in the Chicago area, Kyle Roscoe. Pete, Julia Shining, wow. Once again, climbing all over the place. It didn't look like she'd get the job done at all, but she found a way, man. This is a talented, goofy daughter right now of Malafat. Sister of Malafat.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I mean, you didn't know at first if it was the slop causing problems, or if it's just she's still really green and she doesn't really know what she's doing and she doesn't like to run until the end. But either way, she gets it done. I mean, it was a lot closer than I think when they first hit the stretch. It looked like she was going to roll by, but it was pretty tight. The other horses ran pretty well to stay with her, but it made for an exciting race, for a race we thought could be a blowout. So at least it was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'm watching the replay to the right of the screen. Again, if you are new here to the show for our live shows, due to contractual obligations and whatnot, we cannot show the races. We'll be talking about the races. There is sound in the background, guys. I don't know if that's you, Pete, or you, Kyle, but there's like an echo at the background, so might be you, Kyle. I'm just watching the replay again, Pete. I don't know if you're watching Naira or you're watching the live feed there, but I mean, she didn't really look like a winner until late in stretch. In fact, it looked like Kyle mid-stretch she was going to go by, but then she sort of veered in, and was it Velasquez, I believe, had to go left-handed, and let's see if it's Velasquez, Pete. But
yeah,
Kyle, she clearly doesn't like the kickback. It's something they're going to have to work out with her.
Absolutely. Like I said, goofy, me and you were watching it together. And as you can tell, this isn't my normal background. I'm coming to you live right from the living room of the man himself right there in the upper left corner. But yeah, just goofy, really green, but just extremely talented. And there's, you're not going to take anything away from that performance being, that far wide, pull it out. And
yeah, Kyle, you just went on. Kyle, I'll tell you what, we'll leave you on for a little bit. I apologize for the tech issues. Kyle's actually, he's not at Pete's place. He's actually at my place about 2 rooms over. I don't know why the issues there, Kyle. We'll see if we can work that out. Like I said, worst case scenario, you might need to switch some things, but we'll go ahead and continue on with the show here.
Just have him come sit. Just have him come sit next to you, and you guys could cuddle up, and everybody could watch that. That would be nice.
Well, I don't know what the cuddling up part, but I literally could have him. The problem is you don't know, Pete, because you haven't been to my place yet. But the little area that I have here, it's pretty tight.
Yeah, it looks tight.
Yeah, I sort of did that on purpose. Now I could move this and that would create more room. But I'll tell you, we'll figure out.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, we'll just have Kyle sound only, Pete, because the sound is fine. It's just the video matching up. All right, so Pete, we 1-2 there in the first leg. We'll try to show the race at some point, also, ladies and gentlemen, because we want to show the replay of the Demoiselle. But the next race is the Remsen. We talked about this race. Let's see how many minutes the post here we got in the Remsen. It's probably good.
It's like 7 or so.
Oh, it's only 7 minutes.
Yeah,
wow,
it's quick.
they're speeding things up today. Okay, well, let's get to the. Let me show the past performances here of the Remsen. Pete, I'm going to have you go first. Of course, we analyze these races on Thursday. We're going to have another big favorite here, and this one is Tuskegee Airmen, who is right now even money. As I go ahead and bring up the PPs of Tuskegee Airmen. Pete, is this who you're going with on top?
Yeah, if I recall, I think all 4 of us went with the 2 on the show on Thursday. I mean,
this bring it up. Let's bring it up here.
Oh yeah, you probably still have our picks, probably.
Of course,
right?
There they are.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like based on, at least on paper, that extra distance shouldn't be a problem. He's just run really well. I mean, in his first 2, I mean, you could see it on paper. It doesn't take a genius to see that this horse just sort of blew away the first 2 fields. Beat actually in his debut, beat 3 next out winners. So there was some quality in the debut. Then went in the Delaware Stakes race. I mean, I think there's also some speed in here. So this one looks like he likes to sit off. So I think there's enough speed in here for him to chase. So we're expecting a pretty big performance. And with Saez back in too, I know we all sort of like that as well. Maybe this one, he'll be more aggressive this time and keep this horse closer. Again, the only issue is, I mean, he ran on a good track. So he's 1 for 1 on an off track. Like we never know the differences between off tracks though. So who knows if he'll take to the track today.
Every track is different. Real quick, we've got Katie, the war hero, E2 Tank Engine 105 is here.
Little Thomas the Train. My son used to like that when he was a kid, when he was younger.
Absolutely. Team Bitcoin, interesting. How many times we're going to say the word? I'm not going to say the word. How about that, Team Bitcoin?
How about that? We don't say it the whole day.
Cup Classic winner. How many times I don't think we'll say that horse really any time, but I don't know. Interesting that Penn State Scott has Tuskegee Airmen in a walk. Thanks for joining the show. Matt Miller's here. He needs a pick in the next race for an ice cold double. That double, Julia Scheiding to Tuskegee Airmen, was not paying a lot, but that would not dissuade a Matt Miller from playing. Kyle, I'm going to allow you to speak here. I think you looked up that double, didn't you? Or we can look it up ourselves.
Yeah, last race, I'll look up what the probable was, but I had 2-1 at one point was that double. And let's see, go to probables. It was 3-1 is what it closed at for $1.
Oh, wow.
So actually not too bad.
No. My guess, I'm going to guess, just as me spitballing here, guys, that Matt Miller has it for more than $50. That's just a guess.
Hey, Matt, take the 7 in the next race, Matt. Take the 7. You could cold double the 2-7 this race to the next one.
Oh, there you go. Suggestion from Pete Visco. Kyle, you obviously on the bottom of the screen, everyone, you see our picks. Kyle's also going with Tuskegee Airmen. Do you want to talk about the 7 a bit, as we've got only a few minutes to post here? W, does it W now? I think it's W now. The interesting about this horse, do you see who finished 3rd in that race, guys, in the last race? Do you know what that is?
Certified Lover Boy. Is that one of yours? That's one of yours, right?
Yeah, and he actually ran well last time off the turf. You think this horse can win, Kyle? Or is this more just your straight cold punch exacta play?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only reason why I'm a little bit of doubting is because we mentioned it on the show on Thursday that replay was a little bit goofy of Tuskegee Airmen in his last race in that Delaware Stakes. So I'm going to play it probably ice cold, hopefully get a decent price with the 4-1 underneath. But yeah, I think especially if Tuskegee Airmen runs his race, I think that he's going to be tough to beat in here, and hopefully, but for pick 5, hopefully we can kind of get a little bit of a price here, but I'm going to play him underneath. I'm going to play ice cold, probably 2-7 here.
Guys, we didn't talk a lot about the 4 Arctic Arrogance on the show on Thursday, and I looked really carefully at this race. I'm using him as an A, guys. I've got him as the other A, and he's taking money. He is 5-2 Arctic Arians right now. This is Linda Rice train, New York bred. Ran very well, and we do have time. It says 3 minutes to post as it looks like the horses just went on the track. Guys, very quickly, I'll go right to the stretch run. What I like about this one, guys, is battled the whole way. I'll bring it to about mid-stretch here. He's battling. He had to fight the whole way, and it looks like right here, guys, he might be in trouble. The one in this race is Arctic Arian. See on the inside. I mean, right here, Pete, you're like, oh boy, he's in trouble. But the other horse went a little bit wide, and I really like the way he fought here. And the jockey really didn't ask Pete until about right now, and then he just goes on with it.
Yeah, he looked like he was in hand for the trip he got, which is always good. And again, on the inside, it was a pretty big hole, but still, you like a horse that can travel on the inside when they're young. That's always impressive. And then, yeah, he sort of blew the doors off the field once he got through. I know we're getting close to post time. I just wanted to say real quick, I like the 1 in second for maybe get some speed on the rail, and then Gun Runners at 30% on wet dirt tracks. So take a shot, and you're getting them right now. It looks like 9-1. What are you seeing? I'm seeing either 11 or 9. It depends which one I'm in.
11.
Oh, it's 11 now. Okay.
That's Il Miracolo, who I have absolutely nowhere. If this horse wins, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. I wouldn't mind him second. The one thing interesting about this horse, Pete, as you mentioned, and I hope everyone is paying attention if you're a DRF player, especially to the time form. Sorry, not to the time form, to the numbers here at the top right. But you see this number here, this Tomlinson, Pete.
Yeah.
474.
It's ridiculous.
For wet. I'm not sure I've ever seen a Tomlinson that high in any category. And if you've no idea what that means, folks, what that means, this horse is really bred well for a wet surface. Now, Pete, you never know how it's going to turn out. But that's what it looks right now.
Well, he also has 3 for 4 in second. So if you're looking for something cold, this one seems to like to run second. But yeah, that is an amazing number. It usually doesn't get that high. And I don't know if you want to click real quick on Gun Runner, Howard, but it's not a small sample size either. His wet dirt, I think it was 70 something. 79 races, 24. I mean, and then
yeah.
He's hitting the board. So
right here.
Yeah, if you're looking for a price underneath Tuskegee Airmen, if you really think he has, not much of a shot to lose, and you want to just look for something cold, then take a shot.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm going to go and bring us on full screen now. I think Kyle, do you think you got something situated a little differently? Okay, so Kyle, you're going to go sound only for right now. Okay, now we can't hear Kyle at all. Okay, all right. Kyle's going to come back. He's got some issues here. Pete, what do you think Tuskegee Airmen last time was on the inside? We saw was like a bit goofy and got in a little trouble. Do you think they might, Louis Saez, be a little more tactical today and try to have less kickback? Do you think he'll try to get him to the outside? I mean, it looks like the horse can handle the inside. I don't know. The inside doesn't seem to be the place to be, though, necessarily today at Aqueduct either, Pete. We should have mentioned that.
Yeah, and I hadn't been watching. I wasn't home until the last race was the first race I saw, so I wasn't sure how it was playing. But again, even if the rail is playing well, you don't know how a young horse is going to take to getting this sloppy. I mean, you're going to get even worse kickback in sloppy conditions like this. So I think all of them are in for. I don't assume any of them has run on a real. I didn't look. I apologize. I don't know if any of them. A couple of them have run on sloppy tracks. So at least some of them may have some experience with that, but that's different than running on a fast track and taking dirt. So again, with young horses, you just never know how they're going to react. So it's almost like you're watching them for the first time in some cases.
No question. Again, if you're new to our live shows, we're not going to be showing the race on video. And we know there's about a 4 or 5 second delay, Pete. So again, what we recommend everyone at home is have the race on TV with the sound down, and then you can hear us talking through the race, because I'm not going to race call as much as I have in the past, Pete, because people can see the horses, and my race calling needs a little practice anyway, or needs some revising. But we'll just talk more through the race. Everyone we're assuming is watching the race. I have them going into the gate, about going to the gate, Pete, as I'm going to go ahead and pull something up on the side here.
Yeah, I see the 2 horse going in. I'm watching on TVG on the website.
So you're ahead of me, actually. Do you Well, I could actually watch it on TVG. We could do
TVG is
that.
usually because I stream my
All right,
TV,
I'll
so I'm
watch it
usually a
through
little
TV.
behind. Yeah, I'm usually
I'll
a little
watch it.
behind
The
as
4
well.
is going in right now with me on TVG.
Yeah, me too. So I think we're
Perfect.
in the
All right,
same
so
spot.
Well,
Yep.
I'll watch the TVG feed. They're going into the gate for the grade 2. Remsen is for 2-year-olds going 1 mile and 1/8. The big favorite, Tuskegee Airmen, John Service and Luis Saez at 7-5, Pete, with the 4 Arctic Arrogance saying a lot of money 2-1, and W Hell, I don't know how to pronounce that name, is 4-1 in the 7. They're about to break from the gate for the grade 2 Remsen. I'm guessing as the 7's about to go in, I'm guessing Arctic Arrogance is going to show a lot of speed here, Pete, would be my guess.
I would think so. But there's also, I mean, I think the 1, depending on how it breaks from the rail, could go. I think there's a couple of different options speed wise, but let's see how.
And they're off. The 1
not the
did
1.
not break well at all. Their Arctic Arrogance is absolutely being sent. The 7 is going to get a very nice trip. And Tuskegee Airman's fine, taking a lot of dirt, Pete, but on the inside in a comfortable spot, I would say.
Yeah, and actually doesn't look. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see because it could be some traffic from that spot depending on what the 3 does. Hopefully the 3 doesn't back up. Well, everybody's a little ranked. I mean, the 3 just reared its head a little bit. The 2, actually, the 2's got a spot.
Yeah, Lascano just took a hold and doesn't look that fast. Kyle, I'm actually going to bring you on. Actually, I'm not going to bring you on, Kyle. Sorry. Change that. So 24-1 first quarter. The 7 with Ortiz and Gargan. W Howell is getting a very nice trip. Tuskegee Airman Saez is in a good spot. Taking a lot of mud, though, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
Arctic Arrogance with Lascano, the number 4, now extends it out to about a length as they look like they're going comfortable. 48 seconds is a legitimate pace.
That's good pace.
As they're round the far turn, and Tuskegee Airman is now being asked by Saez, but not really making up a lot of ground right now. As of right now, looks like the 4 or the 7. Yeah. I think Saez is going to try it to the outside if he can. He just left-hand whipped him, Pete.
That 7 also, the 7 won the last race. It was an off the turf in the slop. So maybe the 7 sort of likes this condition. So let's see what happens.
They hit the top
here.
of the stretch, and Arctic Arrogance Lascano just looked back. WL is right on his flank. Tuskegee Airman is absolutely not going to get there. It's head and head. What a race down the stretch. Arctic Arrogance inside. WL outside.
Nice. He's got him
WL
now.
gets a little length in front, nose in front, and is going to win the grade 2 Remsen, the number 7. WL wins the race. I apologize if the pronunciation is wrong. What a great ride, I thought, Pete, by Jose Ortiz to put this horse right outside of Arctic Arrogance. Tuskegee Airmen just never fired in the stretch at all, Pete.
No, not at all. And again, you just don't know if it was the track condition, if it was the kickback, if it was, they went at a decent clip up front. Who knows what the issue is? But yeah, he didn't fire at all. This 7 horse, the only thing with this 7 is now you're going to have 2 straight races in the slop where it ran really well. Do you know if it was the slop that pushed this horse forward, or if it was, or if he's just a pretty talented horse? I'm at a good magic. He's a $400,000 horse, so it's not like he's not quality. So that'll be an interesting one, though, depending on whatever's next. Because who knows? Or if you see a race that comes up in the future in the slop, then you have to move this one forward.
I got a little text from Matt Couture, the managing partner of Delphi Racing just now, who owns, of course, I have a small piece of a certified lover boy that raises his form. So I don't know, maybe that's a live race that certified lover boy ran in. Kyle, I'm going to try to bring you on here. Let's see what happens. We'll bring on Kyle here right now. I think things are set here. Kyle, what was your impressions of that race? Tuskegee Airman was at a good spot. Took a lot of dirt, a lot of mud, just didn't fire in the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, and it all comes down to what we were talking about is that last replay. I'm assuming I'm pretty behind. Sorry. I'm trying to work out some tech issues here, but like I said, the last race looked goofy to me, and I thought the 7 was viable. I mean, I came 7-4, but there's not a whole lot you can do at a short price. I'll take the extra price in the pick 5, and we'll move on.
Selfishly, that's not great for me. This was a C, Pete. I had on my own personal pick four. I had, of course, this happened this way. I had 2 4 as A's and I had 7 as C. I'm not a big fan of off the turf races, but sometimes these turfy meant horses can run better in the slop. I'm not saying the 7 is a turf horse, but if the race was run on dirt, who knows what would it, we don't know. I don't know where you go to Tuskegee Airman. I mean, he's won a stake. I don't think distance was the issue. I guess maybe it was all the kickback, Pete. But I mean, I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to know. That's unfortunately the problem. So that's almost a wait and see. We have to see next time out if he gets a fast track, then we see if he runs back to form. If not, I mean, he was at Parks in Delaware, and not to take anything against those tracks, maybe he didn't run again. I mean, he beat 3 next out winners in debut, like we said, but maybe he just didn't beat the highest of quality. You just don't know. It's hard to tell with 2-year-olds because you just sort of have to wait and see the next time out, especially when they're running on a sloppy track like this.
It looked like Matt actually had the 4. Sorry, Matt. I'm guessing that means Matt had the 4. So that's a tough beat for Matt Miller for sure. Let's see. We have Gail Rice from Katie is the mother-in-law to Jose. Interesting. So there's a little family rivalry going on there between the 4 and the 7. This is going to make the pick 5 definitely a lot bigger. I mean, 4-1 is not that big, Pete, but it is third choice. So this will spice up the pick 5 just a bit for people that use the 7.
Yeah, I mean, you needed to get out of Julia Shining, Tuskegee Airmen, or Zandon, you needed to get one of those 3 out for any sort of payout. So just getting one of those out, and especially this one, I mean, it went off even money, so it definitely got bet. Got bet pretty hard. And like you said, the 4 took a ton of money. So yeah, I think this is what you're looking for. I mean, you don't need double-digit win horses to make a pick 5 blow up. You just need to beat a couple of favorites, really.
I decided to be very aggressive today with my pick 5 play, and I pressed up quite a bit. So that didn't. My press ups are gone. So that didn't work out great for me. I'm okay with that. I'm 4 by 1, Pete, in the pick 5. I'm relatively deep in the next race. Then I've got Zandon and the 5 horse who I liked on the end, especially with the 3 scratching in the last race. The Rudy Rodriguez horse, that Major Spin, I believe is the name of the horse, the one that Paul and I liked. So
yeah,
I'm not going to have a pick 5 that's going to pay great. But again, if people use the 7, that's definitely going to spice things up. Now,
I was just going to say, sorry, one thing, that the 2 horses who ran 1-2 were the ones that won over, just for the record, won over Arctic Arrogance, won over a muddy track, and Doobie Yunel, however we're going to pronounce it, won over a sloppy track. So just for handicapping sake, sometimes you may, like we did Thursday, I think all of us handicapped with a fast track in mind. Whereas maybe if we knew it was going to be sloppy like this, the 7 or the 4 might have moved up in our eyes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm going to, Pete, as we're talking, I'm going to try to pull up the while we have a little bit of time. I'd like to pull up the Demoiselle if I can here. As I do that, Pete, as I pull that up, and I actually can't show it to you. Why don't you talk a little bit of your opinions of the Gopher Wand in general as I try to pull up the replay of the Demoiselle. We just showed that real quick. Let me go ahead and switch the screens here off of race 7 and go to race 8. There on the bottom of the screen. The 5 is out of this Gopher Wand race coming up here, which was a horse coming in, I think, from the West Coast for Peter Urton, Sharapova, I believe, who I didn't think was impossible. Takes a little bit of speed out of the race, perhaps. Pete, what's your overall opinions here of the Gopher Wand coming up here in race 8?
Well, I think mine was the same as all of us on when we talked about this race on Thursday, where this was the one sort of big spread race in the sequence where, and I was just looking at the odds before I wanted to talk, and the 10 bank Sting is taking a lot of money, which this looked like, and maybe that was just early money and it's going to float back up. But this looked like one where, even if you're not getting a huge priced horse, everybody's going to be relatively even. So I don't think, like, even in the horizontals, I don't think all the money will flow into 1 or 2 horses. It's pretty balanced. I mean, there is some speed. There's closers. We talked about, I think, the 10 is a good horse. I like the 7. You like the 8, I think. I think we were all over the board in this one. We like the 3 a little bit. So this was one where I think you can take a shot if you're not going to have a big favorite. So it's not going to be one of the chalkier ones in the sequence. But I do think it's pretty wide open.
I think so. We'll show the replay another time, Pete. I was looking for something that didn't quite work out. Let's go to the go for one PPs. Now, I have a pretty strong opinion in this race, and I also am going to play a trifecta in this race, Pete. And here's my overarching thought. You can see it on the bottom of the screen. I'm going 8, 3, 4. I don't have a real strong opinion on top. I have Betsy Blue on top, who, let me refresh here. I believe I saw somewhere. Actually, I don't think they've turned it over. I think that's why. Oh, yeah, they have. I see 9-2. There we go. Just turned over on the screen. I believe the source is 9-2. Here's my general opinion, Pete. And I like to get your opinion on this, because I'm going to bring it up on the screen here, too. My general opinion here is there's a lot of speed in the race. Now, we all know it might not work out. We've been through this a zillion times. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show my play in this race. I'm sorry. Did you want to bring that?
No, I was just showing it because I thought that was an interesting.
I don't think we
point.
got.
It was on the
want
last
to read
race.
that for people that might be listening later on?
Yeah, Jim Pilar's. He mentioned that it was interesting that Danny Gargan stated that Dubonnet won his debut won on the slop last time, despite hating the track. So he downgraded the horse to a B due to that statement. But he still has some stuff going on in the pick 5. But again, sometimes trainer speak is tough to, you want to listen to them because you maybe get some tips, but then other times you're like, I don't want it to sway me off a horse I might like just because they say something, unless it's really, really pronounced one way or the other. But sorry, go ahead, Howard. You were
Kyle,
saying
I don't know if you can hear me. Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and try to bring on Kyle and see if the sound is okay. Kyle, can you hear us?
I can, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We'll just leave you with the sound here, Kyle. We're just bringing up the go for one. Guys, here's my opinion of the race. I think there's a lot of speed. Let me go full screen here. Okay, I'm going to go full screen. Love in the Air has to go. Right, guys? Has to go. I mean, I don't see any other way for it. And it's Paco. Okay. Exotic West is a closer. I'm going to talk about her in just a minute. Battle Bling absolutely wants to be maybe not on the lead, but certainly close, 90 early time form. WW Fitzy, who, by the way, is 23-1 right now, Pete, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. The Illinois bred. She's fast. She can be up close somewhere, you would think. Self-isolation, 101 early time form, prefers to be on the lead. David Jacobson, Jose Ortiz, an aggressive guy. Dr. B has a 111 early time form. You might think they might try to rate with IRAD. My guess is because of the track, Pete, they're going to be moving forward more so than we think. I'm just guessing.
Actually, and I know Kyle and I both like that horse. And on Thursday, we both said we like this horse because it does have early speed, but isn't a need to lead type. So probably won't get mixed up in whatever if there's a sort of a speed duel up top. And you have Irad who likes to, sit off a bit and come from off the pace. I'm hoping that this horse can be tactical because it was my top choice. Yeah,
she's going to be tactical for sure. Then you got Betsy Blue who can sit off, and her best races are actually coming from behind, right? Flight to Shanghai, I don't think has a chance to win, but there are a lot of ones in the PPs, although there's blue numbers, Pete. But Franco is pretty aggressive too. I think she's going to be up close. Banksting, will probably in more of a stalking position, but won't be like a deep closer. And then you have the 11 Tonal Vision for 10 Strike Racing, by the way, Marshall Graham. Would I be shocked if this horse finds a way to win money? Not at all, at least in my opinion, even though she looks a lot slower. Here's my thought, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring us all on screen, including Kyle with the sound. This is a play I put out on the Power Picks. And if you're not familiar with the Power Picks, we give out spot plays, price plays, ABC grids, etc. I don't usually show my spot plays on the podcast because, of course, we like people to subscribe to the Power Picks. But here's what I'm going to do, for better or worse. I'm going to show it, and this is either going to work out great, Pete and Kyle, or I'm going to look like a fool in about 18 minutes from now. But that's okay. I'm willing to take my chances. Here's what I'm going to do, guys, and this is straight from the Power Picks. And I know a lot of you, if you're watching this later, you'll be able to see it. But if you're going to be listening to this, you don't know what's on the screen. Right now, on the screen, let me go a little bit lower here. There we go. right now on the screen is what I think my play in this race, the Go for One, and my overall opinion. This is my price. This is my play of the day, guys. And I'm going to read what I have on the bottom of the screen because a lot of people obviously won't be able to see it if they're going to be listening to the show. I said this is my play of the day. Lots to say here. There's two horses I think they're interesting, especially the two Exotic West as a bomb play. There's a lot of early speed. Doesn't always develop. But if it does, I think the 2 and 8 are going to come running. Betsy Blue is the better horse. But I want to talk about Exotic West, guys, which we didn't talk about this horse on the show. Okay. Right now, the 2 has got to be a price. Let me see what she is here. 14-1. I actually thought she'd be higher. This DNF line, Pete, is I don't know about you. I have found the DNF that does not finish line remarkably good. I don't know what it is, but this horse stumbled. The horse is fine health-wise. Stumbled, dropped the rider. She's done well on dirt before. She's done well on wet dirt, and she can close. And if you're saying, well, she's more of a turf horse, take a look at these PPs, guys. As I go ahead and show the PPs here, look at the 2. She's raced okay on turf. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? But more importantly, you see this race in the slop with an 81. These figs here, Pete, in the spring, this 81, 89, 84, are not far off a lot of these horses. And I know it looks, the last line obviously looks bad because she didn't break, but this horse also has done well off the layoff. So here's what I'm doing. Let me go back to my play, and I'll let you guys comment. Here's my general play, and I'll tell people how much it is in case people agree with me. I'm going to use a little bit of win in place on Betsy Blue, and the 5 to win 15 place in show would be on the 2. But these last 3 bets is what I want to focus on. I'm putting the 2 and the 8, Pete and Kyle, in every spot in my try, hoping that one of them will be able to close and get in the money. And then you can see I'm using other horses in for second and third. This top play for 50 cents is a $48 play, I believe. And these other plays you see on the screen, the 3-4-10 with 2-8 with all, and 3-4-10 with all with 2-8, are also $48 plays if you play them for $1. But you could play them for 50 cents. So basically, Pete and Kyle, what I need here as I bring you guys on screen is I need the 2 or 8 basically to finish in the money anywhere. And then I'm going to play a very small $5 exacta box just in case, Pete, it comes 2-8-8-2 and I say, crap, I missed out on the try. Your general thoughts, maybe not about the handicapping, but about the betting aspect I'm throwing out here, Pete.
No, I like both actually, guys. I like the 2. I actually had the 2 on when we do our ABC grids on our power picks. I had the 2 on my caveman ticket and had the horse as a B, only for sort of price sake. I really like this horse for a shot with a price, but I like exactly what you're doing with these bets here because you're doing it with 2 priced horses. Obviously, this one's 18. What did you say? The 8 was sitting at 9-2.
So if the 8 is they're both
you're sitting at 9-2 and 18-1. So if you can get a price in one of those other spots as well, I think you're in line for a nice try. And you're talking $96 if you played 50 cents on all of them. So was it 96?
Right, exactly. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I might.
But still, I mean, it's not overly pricey, but you have a shot, I think, for a pretty big score.
Well, it's my main vertical play of the day
at
Aqueduct. It's hard to find good vertical plays today, Kyle, because there's a lot of favorites. What's your overall thought, Kyle, of either this betting structure or the actual horses I'm using themselves in all spots?
Yeah, and not only is it your main play of the day, it's the famous Howard backwheel try. Just with instead of one horse, it's 2 horses. But
reverse key or backwheel,
no,
correct?
Yep, correct. So I really don't mind this bet, especially when you have 2 horses at a price like this, where even if they come in any, especially the 2, if it comes in any place, let alone first, even if it comes second or third, you're still going to get a pretty big bump up in the try. And like you said, I mean, as for the dollar amount. In a day especially like this where you're really heavy on favorites and you're trying to find prices somewhere, spending a decent amount on one race is, because if you don't want to play the other ones because of your, of the prices, this could definitely be a very viable option for some people. So I do like this strategy, and especially in the case where there's multiple races where, you're going to have 1 to 2, 3 to 5 favorites.
Plus, Kyle,
Again,
you don't. Oh, sorry, Howard. I was just going to say you don't have a. There's not a 7-5 shot, 8-5 shot in this race. So there's not a big favorite to where even if the favorite, who the 10 is the 10 right now, sitting at 2, even if the favorite comes in, I don't think it's going to drop your payout by a ton. I mean, obviously, it depends who the other two. If it's the favorite and then the second choice with maybe your 8, then you're not going to get a payout. But if you can get the 2, even if the favorite comes in and you get some other, under 10-1 shot, I think you're in good shape.
I like this. I'm leaving it on the screen. Once again, if you're watching this for the first time or you're still trying to interpret what you see here, I just want to reiterate one more time what everyone sees. This 10 to win in place is for the 8, exclusively Betsy Blue. This 5 to win and then 15 place in show is specifically for the number 2 Exotic West. And then, of course, you got 3 bets on the bottom. Each one of these bets you see on the screen are $48. You don't have to play the bottom 2 for 48. You can play for 24, or you can play neither of them. I don't necessarily like hitting the all ball, Pete, but it's why can't almost anyone in this race could get third? I mean, and I'm sure you've been there before, as has Kyle. You have this wise guy opinion, and then this like ridiculous 25-1 shot gets in third, for example, and you don't have the try, and you feel like a complete fool. So I'm willing to spend a few extra dollars because this could be this could get me out for the weekend and then some, even if I lose the pick 5 here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the all button is can be suspect in a race depending upon there's a bunch of different factors. Depends on sort of field size, depends on what the odds are of the other horses. I think in a wide open race where again you're leaning on neither of the horses you're leaning on are the favorite. So if you were going hitting the all button with the favorite, then you run the risk of maybe not hitting a ticket for as much money as you'd like. But I think you don't want to win. The 2 wins the race. Something else happens and a bomber runs third and you're like, shoot, I did everything right except anybody can get third, like we always say. Yeah. So you just don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't want that to happen. Kyle, I want to leave. I'm going to be making a bet here as we're talking, so I'm going to leave my bet on the screen that I'm playing. But Kyle, talk about your top pick here. You've got 7, 3, 10. Why don't you walk through the race? Not going to have the PPs up, but Kyle, tell us what do you think the race flow will be? Do you think the speed will develop, and what is it you like about the 7 in the go for wand here, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, and as you pointed out, as we ran through the PPs, there is a lot of horses that like to be towards the front, and I'm really actually looking, even though it's a little bit slower on paper, that race 2 back for Dr. B, that was 6.5 in the slop at Parks in a listed stake, where he ran second to a half length to Oksana at 2.5 to 1. That's going to be my telltale race, especially like with all the rain that they've gotten at Aqueduct. That mentioned this on Thursday that I really think that the extra distance to the mile is going to help this horse. And like I said, hopefully it takes the slop like he did 2 back, and we'll get a pretty decent price on this horse hopefully if it stays up in that 7-2 range.
Yeah, Pete, I am very surprised the 4 is 23-1. Is it just? I mean, does the last race mean that much to people? I mean, this horse has got back numbers that could win this damn thing. And this Illinois bred for Castellano and Morley is 23-1, and Morley's won big prices before. I don't understand these odds. Maybe someone knows something, but to me, WW50 should be like 8-10-1 to me, Pete.
Well, I guess yeah. I mean, obviously losing by 33.5 lengths throws people off. So that's one thing. Yeah. Second, it was off a trainer switch. So that leaves people a little sour taste in their mouth where the first time with the new trainer. Plus Morley's 0 for 17. I don't know if that's changed today, but he's 0 for 17, at least on the PPs at Aqueduct.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's 0 for 17 with 3 seconds and 0 thirds. So he's not even, okay. It's not like one of those where he's not winning, but he's hitting the board kind of thing. So I'm sure it's a combination of all those. And then in a race like this, sometimes horses just, we see this where a horse just gets lost in the shuffle and floats up a bit. And it doesn't mean that they're worthy of being that high necessarily, but I mean, somebody has to be long. And in this race, there's not a lot of bad horses. There's not a lot of great horses. There's a lot right sort of in the middle. So somebody has to, you're a math teacher on the bell curve, and somebody's got to be on one end, somebody's got to be on the other. And sometimes it's a horse where you think on paper, doesn't look as bad as maybe the odds are making it seem.
Guys, we got a lot of people commenting. I want to give them a short stretch. We have Simon O'Neill wants to say hi to Katie, and Simon O'Neill also saying hello to Kyle. Again, we have a lot of comments from Katie as well. We got some, talking about the internet, just a little banter back and forth. I'd be curious to know from everyone there that's commenting in the chat, what do you guys think about this possible play for me here? This back wheel or reverse key with the 2 and the 8. The 2 closers. And if you don't like the opinion, totally cool with that. You could put that in, you could put those comments in the chat as well. Are you trifecta players out there? Are you just trying to hit the win end? Pete, as we about 2 minutes to post, I believe here, who's going to have the lead? Who do you think will have the lead, and can that horse wire the field?
That's a good question, because I think there's a lot of horses who look like they like the lead. I think your 4 WW Fitzy has a good shot to get the lead. I mean, I think definitely has the speed to do it. Love in the Air has shown speed, but hasn't shown speed with necessarily fast paces. So you don't know if that was just a byproduct of maybe being against slower horses, and that's why she got the lead. So I think it's tough, because I think there's horses on here with like a lot of ones. We always say, you see the ones, you see the 3.
Yeah.
Battle Bling has shown speed, but again, hasn't shown like flashy speed. So I feel like this could be one where it's not just one horse trying to wire. I think this could be hey, we see 3 across the track sort of going neck and neck on the backstretch, and that's one.
You know, Pete, I know you're a very astute handicapper. We've talked about this. People fall in love with the ones on the program, but you got to be careful. And if you use time form, which I know Pete and I do, and Kyle, when you see those blue figs, okay, they might be ones, but they're going slower. So every one tells its own story, I suppose, Pete. Ones do not guarantee a fast pace, but to me, Pete, because of the way this track is and it's slop, and I'm not sure some of these horses want to take kickback, and there's also some stretch out sprinters. Man, I gotta believe there's got to be some pace in this race, Pete.
I mean, I handicapped it for a little bit of pace, so I agree with you there. So I mean, as someone who is looking at horses to come off, then I would appreciate a little bit of pace. We don't. It's one of those where it looks like time form wise, there's a bunch of early speed, and then you hate it when it's the race where none of them go, and it's just the one goes out and they get to slow a pace. Here we go, 2 or 8.
I have no problem with 2 or 8. Well, I prefer the 2, but if one of those gets third, that's fine. I do need 3, 4, 10 in first. I'm against the 7 a little bit, obviously, guys, because I don't have the 7 on top in the tries. I respect your opinion, Pete, and Kyle's opinion, of course, but I don't know. I'm a little bit negative to the 7. So if the 7 wins, obviously, I won't hit this try no matter what the 8 and 10 do. It looks like they are approaching the gate. Kyle, final thoughts. Who gets the lead? And how is your 7 going to win this race, Dr. B?
I think the 7 has to win this race by taking a little bit of a stalking trip. Like I said, that back in that race 2 back at Parks, he actually ended up being 7th, granted only a length and a quarter, like 3/4 off the lead, but I think he's going to have to take up that stalking trip, because as we were talking about, there's a lot of horses that are going to try and vie for this lead, I think. So hopefully IRAD gets a good trip, takes back. Let's see what happens. But I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to do a straight exacta. I'm a straight double. I'm going to go Dr. B into Zandon, and I'm going to try and hit. But I do I'm alive to the 3, actually, as well to WW Fitzy as Dr. B and Banks staying in this pick 5. So let's try and get one of them home here for sure.
All right. So they're all, looks like the 6 and 10 are going to load as we're watching this, which means at home, they're probably breaking from the gate very soon. I realize that we're a few seconds behind. It's the go for one. They're going a mile for older fillies and mares. This is a fascinating race. Yours truly needs the 2 or 8 to run a big race, preferably the 2 coming from the clouds, and maybe find a way getting the money. I also need 3, 4, 8, 10, Pete, to stay alive in my own personal pick 5, but I'm sort of more interested in this try now, because I don't think my pick 5 is going to come through the way I want with that last result. Pete, did you bet this race real quick?
No, I didn't. I didn't bet anything single. I was sort of laying off. I was blowing my money on sports today, unfortunately, which that hasn't been going much better. So
sorry about that.
No, that's all right. It's still early yet.
Rosario was off the 10, but he's fine. Or excuse me, Rosario's fine is what I meant. No drinking out there, guys. I meant the jockey, not the horse. Kyle. Looks like actually Rosario is not on Bang Sting right now, but she's not going to be scratched. I don't believe they're working on some equipment issue. Yeah, they're actually the equipment issue is her butt doesn't want to go in the gate.
Yeah, the equipment issue is the horse. That's what
she's being cantankerous. Take that, our
Ultimate
wordsmith
equipment.
there from home. That's a nice word. She's being a little naughty.
We didn't mention, Howard, that the mile at Aqueduct, it's sort of just straight, and they just sort of break from that chute there, and they go straight ahead on the backstretch. So if you're on the outside and you have a little bit of speed, you have time to sort of work your way over, and we didn't really
Pete,
talk
I will
about
take
that.
a 4-2 bomb, and that'll get me about $3 or $4 grand. How's that sound?
4-2 would be 4-2 what? 4-2 11. 4-2 11 would be lovely. Yes,
right,
let's get that all.
Here we go. They're about to break from the gate and the go for wand. And they're off, and the 3 did not break great. The 7, Irad, might get the lead. This might be really good for you guys, actually. Boy, the inside speed just didn't break. This is...
Yeah, everything happened exactly the opposite of what we thought, Kyle. Now we're sitting on the lead.
But that's fine for you guys. They do
what
look
it
like
normally
they're
is
going
around
at a
here.
pretty good pace.
Yeah.
The 1 and 3, who looked like they were going to show speed, guys, are not showing speed. And selfishly for my play, that's not real good. Right now, the 7, Dr. B has the lead. You got Flight to Shanghai, 22 and 3. That's pretty quick, even on this track.
That is very quick.
And you know what? The rein is a little bit loose, so they decided just to go. Bang Sting is in a nice spot in 3rd, the 10. My top choice, Betsy Blue, is in a nice spot in 4th. This is going to be around a 46 half, I'm guessing.
45. Wow.
45?
Yeah.
Wow, this is very fast. Well, Dr. B still has the lead, though. The 9 is going backwards. Here comes Bang Sting on the outside. Betsy Blue is starting to make a run. Come on, Betsy. Come on, Betsy. Dr. Blue still has the lead. No one's really coming here. Bang Sting's trying. Dr. B with the lead. Bang Sting. I don't think Betsy Blue is going to be there. Oh, of course, it's going to be a wire job with your horses.
We just said that, right?
Dr. B, 109 and 3.
Unbelievable.
Dr. B is going to win the go for wand. Basically 1-2-4 on the track. Bang Sting 2nd. Betsy Blue 3rd. The 2 actually clunked up for 5th. This final time is going to be fast. What is it going to be? 135 flat in the slop. Guys, great call with Dr. B. Congratulations to Pete and Kyle. Irad just outbroke the field. The 1 doesn't show speed. The 3 doesn't show speed. The 4 doesn't show speed. Guys, I can't handicap that. I don't know. I'm a little frustrated, but congratulations to you guys. Great call. Great pick.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
I mean, you literally asked me how his horse was going to race. And I was going to say stalking behind lead, and then he gets the lead out front because no horses break. I mean, on paper, there's no way to handicap that, but it's better. Sometimes, you know what? It's better to be lucky than good, is what they say, I think.
Well, maybe the handicapping was that Irad gets up and he sees that no one else breaks, and he says, "You know what? I'll take the lead. My horse is quality and has been close. And if you're going to give it to him, if you're going to give it to Irad on the lead, he's going to." And the one thing with Dr. B, and I think this is one thing Kyle and I liked, was those last 4 races. It lost to Goodnight Olive, who obviously is awesome, Oksana, and Boston Post Road, all good horses. Mm-hmm. So maybe this was just, was happy to get a little bit of maybe a class break too. So, and had a second in the slop, 2 back to Oksana. And I think, Kyle, you talked about that race. Mm-hmm. Ran well in the slop against a good horse, had some traffic, and still almost got the win. So, I mean, I think it was logical on paper, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I had her as a B, guys. It's not like, of course, Dr. B I have as a B. I didn't think she'd be able to outbreak the field, guys, and I was concerned about distance. So, what'd she go off, a 3-1? I mean, people can, in the chat, people can give me crap all they want. I would never be the source 3-1 in this field, ever, on top. So, congratulations. Anyone had the 7? Awesome job. Pete and Kyle came through for your listeners. I hope you guys had the 7. I know Matt Miller is very happy about that. Aggression, guys. Aggression on this track. I'd have to show the replay. I don't know if the 1, 3, and 4 just didn't break well, or they got tangled up on the inside. I didn't see the 7 getting loose, guys, at all. Well, none of us did, to be honest, right?
Mm-mm. No, I think it just looked like they didn't break for. I mean, that was my immediate reaction was they just didn't break. So once the other speed doesn't break, and then no one goes, and then you had, I mean, even the 9. Obviously, the 9 held, and the 9 wasn't really a top quality horse, and the 9 even holds for fourth. I mean, the
Yeah.
10 was there the whole time. I mean, it was just a pure the top of the race horses just hung on for the most part, and then that 8 who likes the slop actually did what she does. She ran
Yeah.
well enough, but just was sort of too far back and never had a chance to really get into it.
A few quick things here in the comments, and I'm assuming this is correct, and I apologize for not knowing for sure, but I'm assuming Katie is correct that IRAD just set the new record for the stake wins in a year. I
Yeah,
believe
there's
is the
it's on
record.
the screen. That's actually on the screen
Wow.
too. Yeah,
So
77 stakes wins, single year record it says.
That's
how
correct.
many?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know how many. Okay. Guys, look, look, he's the best rider in the country. You can say what you want. You can say that he herds. You can say that he's done some really bad crap on the racetrack. I think we'd all agree with that. But he's just really damn good. I mean, you can win on any surface, any situation. It looked to me, Pete and Kyle. Kyle, I'll let you talk about this. It looked like this was their intent from the start. I don't. I have to again. We have to watch the break and the replay. But Kyle looked like that she was being asked very aggressively right from the start. I got a feeling this is what they wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a because like we all talked about, the horses on the inside. There's a lot of ones, but I know Pete was mentioning that sometimes it's just inheriting a slow type of race, or there's not as good horses, so you kind of just inherit the lead like that. I definitely agree. And then once Irad saw that nobody broke from his inside, he actually it looked like he just didn't. He let up a little bit and just let the horse do the talking. But I mean, like I said, just like you said, Irad, which they did show a number, it is 77 stakes wins this year, which is a new record. But yeah, I mean, like you said, he can win from any situation, and when the situation benefits him, don't give him any rope because he'll definitely take you.
Let's talk about my try pick. Didn't hit because I didn't have the 7 on top. I think the idea was there. I mean, the 8 ran just fine. The 2 actually ran pretty decent, also. Really, just this no one was closing. I mean, so it didn't. If you're betting a race to collapse a bit and it doesn't, obviously it's not going to happen. This is not a trifecta I want anyway, Pete. It came second choice in a race that we thought was wide open,
$21.
right?
Yeah, it paid $21 to try. So yeah, it wasn't one you're upset about not hitting. So I
No.
think we're okay there.
Yeah, I mean, it came top choice, second choice, top choice, fourth choice.
Plus, what's funny, Howard, is you look at it now, and we always do this. You red board it or you do whatever. The 7 was super logical based on some of the horses she was running against. You look at the 10. The 10 is 6 for 8 wins, 7 out of 8 in the top 2 at Aqueduct, 3 out of 5 on the distance, 4 wins on an off track, and then the 8 was 5 for 5 in the top 2 on an off track, 6 out of 9 wins at Aqueduct. I mean, when you look at it, you go, these top 3 weren't all that not obvious, and they ran the way they sort of look on paper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you were looking for a price to come in.
Listen, I have absolutely no regrets if people want to red board and say that was a stupid play, whatever. That's fine. Pete and Kyle, you both know that particular back wheel or reverse key play has worked very well for me in the past. Just the pace didn't develop. I mean, what are you going to do? There were 3 horses on the inside that didn't show speed, that looked like they were going to show speed. So I don't know, 70. Isn't that crazy, guys? 77 stake wins, and what number does IRAD win on?
The 7.
Number 7.
Look at that.
How about that? How about that?
We live in a
The
simulation.
numerologist to me. 777. Guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a short commercial break here. Let everyone catch their breath, grab something to drink, use the washroom, whatever, and then we're gonna come back for the big one of the day. It's the Cigar Mile. It is Zandon versus Mind Control. Stay tuned right here on the HHH Racing Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back in about 90 seconds. Do not go anywhere. Thanks for joining us. portion of the HHH Racing Podcast is brought to you by the Adelphi Racing Club.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal racing experience. Looking to own thoroughbred racehorses and win at the highest level circuits? We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Experience the Adelphi difference. Join the club today. Contact us to get a taste of the Adelphi experience and come hang with us this Saratoga meet.
All righty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here on Saturday afternoon. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, with my wonderful co-host and contributor, Kyle Roscoe, who's with us in sound today due to some tech issues. Pete, we are into the last race of our telecast today, although there is another race after the Cigar Mile in terms of the pick five. The grade one Cigar Mile. We've been waiting for this all week long, Pete. It's fair to say a matchup between the very talented 3-year-old Zandon for Chad Brown cutting back and Mind Control, a game veteran who's won $1.7 million. Right now, Zandon is 3-5 on the board. Mind Control 5-2. White Abarrio 7-2. Let me go ahead and bring up our picks on the screen. And actually, Pete and Kyle, before I get to you guys, there's our picks. We got a lot of people commenting. Let's see what we got here. Tell us what you think of the Cigar Mile in the chat, everyone. Let's see. We've got, I know Matt Miller has got the pounded a double with Zandon. I think it's 9-1, by the way, Kyle and Pete. That is a juicy double as far as I'm concerned. So I know Matt really needs Zandon here. Christine Race, shout out to Kyle Roscoe. Christine, thanks for joining the show live. Let's see here. Katie is going with Zandon on top with Mind Control. So she's going to go second chalk there. Let's get to the PPs here. And Pete, I just want to see how much time we have to post. I think we're good. About 13 minutes. I think because of the weather, they're speeding things up a little, Pete. I know the sun goes down pretty early now.
Goes down early down on the east here.
North. You're looking okay there. How's the weather in Maryland today?
It's gorgeous today. I didn't even need a jacket. So it was raining. It was pouring this morning, but it was warm enough to where when you're outside, it's not hot or by any stretch, but it's definitely not cold. So, and it cleared up. So it looks decent out right now.
Always sunny in the state. In the Commonwealth of Maryland. All right. Is it a Commonwealth or is it just a state, Pete?
No, just a state. Yeah. Okay. Commonwealth is Virginia. Virginia's the one they call.
What makes it? That's our number.
No, that's not
what makes Kentucky and Virginia special? Why are they Commonwealths? It sounds
somebody in the chat, royal. Somebody smart in the chat's going to have to answer this one. By the way, I'm watching TCU. I don't know if we have any football fans where.
Yeah.
Touchdown. Unless they call a push out. So we could potentially have 2 of the 4 playoff teams get knocked out this weekend. They're down 8 with 3 minutes to go.
Is that to Kansas State, right?
Yeah, they just scored a touchdown, but I think it's going to be offensive pass interference.
A lot of people were on Kansas State today.
Now that brings Ohio State. It brings Ohio State in the fold for sure because USC choked last night. Yep. But it also brings Alabama in the fold.
Alabama back in, yeah. Basically, the TV stations are going to like it a lot better if it's Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan, and Georgia as opposed to TCU. Well, USC would have been good for TV, but they like when Alabama and Ohio State get in there. But yeah, they just scored a touchdown, but it got called back on offensive pass interference.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Cigar Mile, guys. Here's the feeling for the Cigar Mile. You got Double Crown, 26-1. Big upset last time in the Kelso at 42-1. There's Zandon, 3-5 right now, has won $1.4 million, turning back Chad Brown and Rosario. White Abarrio, a horse I'm a bit interested in this spot, 7-2. I was hoping for a little bit of a higher price. White Abarrio and IRAD. Maybe guys looking to wire another field at a bit of a middle price. Is that what people are thinking here with White Abarrio? Get her number, getting no respect whatsoever. 11-1, coming back quickly for Pete Miller from the West Coast. In sharp form, but a move that has not worked well for Peter Miller. Obesos is scratched due to the herpes outbreak in Kentucky. Outlier, a big bomb at 43-1 for Norman Cash. Then there's Mind Control, 3-1, Pletcher and Velasquez on the outside. You see our picks on the bottom of the screen. Kyle, I'll let you go first. Of the three of us that are actually on the show, we all have a different pick, so that sort of works out well. But Kyle, you're just going to go chalky here with Zandon.
Again, we said it on Thursday, but it's crazy. I go with the chalk. It's nuts. But we've talked about it since the Derby Trail. I mean, I really think that this horse is really going to benefit from a drop down in distance. Cutting back to the mile, I think is going to be this horse's strong suit. And hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping for more of a Jim Dandy run from this horse, putting this horse a little bit more into the mix than as he has been in these other races. As you see, like the Travers, he was 7th in the Pennsylvania Derby. He was 10th at one point. So I'm hoping more of a little bit of aggressive ride from Rosario. And like I said, I just think he's easily the class of this race, as we all know. Granted, Mind Control is a very classy horse himself, but and we all know Mind Control, this is his last race going into this. So, but like I said, I think the cutback is my main angle into this race. We've been saying it forever. I just really think that this horse is going to benefit from going shorter. You can look at those last two numbers going down the PPs. He's lost distance in his last 4 races going into the final quarter of a mile. So hopefully, like I said, it's going to start the upswing for Zandon here. And maybe, I know, like we talked about, like you guys talked to Chad Brown on Tuesday, maybe if he does really well here, keeps him in training and runs him in the Pegasus.
That's definitely the thought. The Pegasus, $3 million, mile and eighth field, I would say a bit suspect at this point. Pete, you're going to go with Mind Control. Now, I did read, I wasn't sure it was DRF or Horse Racing Nation. I can't recall where I read it, but I did read for a fact the owners, this is not Todd Pletcher talking. The owners have been quoted in saying Mind Control does not like the mud. Now, every wet track is different, Pete. You look at Mind Control's PPs, he only has 3 races on the wet with 1 win. I would have to go back and look at that one. In fact, as we're talking, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find that race.
Yeah,
when you read something like that, what does that mean to you, if anything at all?
I mean, we talked earlier about not always listening to what people say, but something like that makes sense because it does tie to what you see on the form as well. So there are 2 sloppy races, August 29th of 2020 and June 6th, where he ran about as bad as he's ever run. Yeah. He's only has a few bad races on his sheet, but those were 2 of the worst ones. And then the 1 win on an off track was on a good track. So who knows if that was good, closer to fast as opposed to sloppy / muddy. So I could see that. So yeah, that would, looking at that now, again, handicapping for Thursday's show, I was leaning more to a fast track. Looking at that now, I definitely would have some reservations about the 7. I mean, again, I just like this horse regardless of the track condition. First, you like that he likes Aqueduct. He loves the distance. He always runs an honest race, and he's a fighter, and he knows how to finish. Zandon, who always runs his race but doesn't always finish, and he can't finish horses off. So you may figure maybe in a fight, Mind Control can get the advantage. But again, I don't know if the track condition now sort of tilts the scales towards Zandon a little more.
I want to talk about my top choice, White Abarrio, in this race. I will say once again, I said this on Thursday, Zandon's absolutely the horse to beat. The fact that this track seems to be tilted a little more towards speed, guys. White Abarrio, this race is for the taking if IRAD is aggressive. I'm guessing they're going to be aggressive. I think the cutback's also going to work well for White Abarrio, guys. I want to see IRAD just go for it, just like he did with Dr. B. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm expecting White Abarrio, guys, to be on the lead in this spot. I'm going to be playing. I'm out of the pick 5 for full disclosure to everyone. That's fine. Think that happens. This pick 5 is not really going to be paying anything special here. I suppose if you beat Zandon, it could be okay, actually, but it's not going to be anything spectacular unless a bomb comes here in the this leg or the next leg. I'm going to play a Dutch Exacta, and Matt Miller, I'm going to show your suggestion in the chat because it's good with betting strategy. Let me go ahead and bring us a full screen here. Pete, I'm going to play a Dutch exacta. For those people that don't know what that means, I am not going to box the 2-3. Folks, boxing does not make any sense. I don't want to be disrespectful, but if you want to be a good money manager and a good bettor, there's no reason to box 2 horses in exacta. See what one pays. The one that pays less, you should bet that one more so that no matter how it happens, you get the same money back, unless, Pete and Kyle, you really love one way over the other. I personally don't love one way or the other. I'm going to look at the exactas here when you guys are talking here in a minute, and I'm going to bet a Dutch exacta. So, for example, if the Zandon White Azario exacta, let's just say, is $6 for $1, and the White Abario Zandon exacta is 12 for $1, so let's say it's twice as much, I'll bet twice as much in the exacta with Zandon on top as with White Abario. That's what a Dutch exacta means, everyone. So either way, I'll get about the same money back. Pete, White Abario, what kind of shots you give him? Does the track or IRAD's possible intention or your newly found information on mind control change your thoughts at all on the chances of White Abario?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily love the horse. I mean, I liked the horse as I thought it had a shot because he's good when he can get on the lead or maybe closer to the lead, and maybe, cutting back a bit could be beneficial. There isn't like a ton of speed here. I mean, mind control is pretty quick and goes towards the top sometimes as well. But there wasn't a ton of speed. So if White Abario could set that pace, the weird thing about White Abario, I mean, he's only run 9 times. He's never been on an off track, so he could completely hate it for all we know, or he could completely take to it and run away, which would be fantastic for you if you have the 3. I just think he's been sort of inconsistent. He runs his best races generally where he's won. He's only won at Gulfstream, so that was always a concern for me as well with this horse, because I liked this horse on the Florida Derby trail. But then when he got off of it, I mean, he ran well in the Ohio Derby, but he didn't run. You were hoping for more out of a race like that because he was sort of one of the class horses in that race. So I know Kyle was talking about the 3, I think or maybe that was you, or I forget which one, was saying, hey, he got to the lead in the Pennsylvania Derby. He ran strong. He didn't hold, but he also didn't hold against Taba, Zandon, and Cyberknife. So maybe if he gets an advantageous pace, he takes to the condition, you can get something. 7-2 is a little low. I mean, it's a short field. There's not a ton of depth in it. So 7-2 is a little low based on performance. But I mean, you only have so many options in this race, and some of the longer shots I just don't think could beat Zandon head to head. So
yeah, I just put in my exact as we're talking here. Like I said, I Dutched it accordingly the way I want to. The exactas are not bad. We got 2 minutes supposed to. I don't want to keep yapping. Let me just look, folks.
I saw it was 6. It was 6 with the 2. 6 with the 2, right? And 9 with the 3 on top.
Yeah, I mean, it could change. After my bet, it could change.
Yeah, obviously, with the millions you're going to put down, will obviously swing the odds. So.
I mean, if I don't like mind control, Pete, and I think Zandon's going to win, Kyle, if I don't like mind control, and I think Zandon's going to probably win, what's wrong with getting 6-1 on the most likely second choice in the race, in at least my opinion? And if something weird happens the other way, I get 9-1. I could get out for the day after my disastrous pick 5 and try choices.
Well, absolutely. And I know someone in the chat would have a very inclination on that type of value play. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with 6-1. I mean, even if you're playing it for something as low as $5-10, I mean, 6 extra money is definitely not anything to sneeze at, especially, when you have a horse as strong as Zandon as it looks in this spot, and White Abario, who looks maybe to get a pace advantage in this race. I think it's definitely a great play. And like you said, if Irad pulls a Dr. B and wires the field somehow here, I mean, 9-1 is definitely, and even if it could float up even, to 10-1, 11-1. So absolutely nothing wrong with getting that bang for your buck.
Jim Pilar said TCU just tied the game. Is that correct?
They did. TCU tied it, and then
okay.
K-State now has the ball
right.
they punted, so it was 38 seconds left. So probably going to go to time.
Well, they are about to go to the gate for one of the last grade 1s of the 2022 racing season. This is the grade 1 Cigar Mile. I'm personally going 3-2 as my top two. Pete, real quick, your top two.
Well, I'll stay. I mean, I originally said 7-2, so I'll stick with it, even though I don't necessarily like it with this on this track condition.
Okay. And Kyle, your top two real quick.
I went to I like 2-7, but I do think White Abarrio could get a pace advantage here. So, but also 2-7. I'll stick with my my chalk as normal.
They're in the gate. Irad, please send White Abarrio and just be aggressive. And if he falls apart late, so be it. That's what I want Irad to do. They're in the gate for the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. Here we go, boys and girls and anyone else out there. And they're off, and White Abarrio breaks okay. Mind Control actually outbreaks everyone and is being sent aggressively. But now the speed inside of White Abarrio is meaningful. The 6 absolute bomb Outlier is going to get the lead. Mind Control in a comfortable spot, as is White Abarrio. Zandon is shuffled back to second to last, guys, but is in the clear, Pete. I guess he's pretty comfortable, but he's going to have to come from second to last.
Yeah, but it's second to last and behind 4 horses. So this is nothing he hasn't made up before. I mean, the key for him is just finishing. I think he can get into position to win the race usually. It's just a point of whether he could finish him off.
They're approaching the far turn. Zandon's in a bit of a tricky spot in between. Outlier still has like a 3-length lead. Mind Control is now cutting into the margin for Velasquez. Get her number with Saez on the outside. On the inside, you got White Abarrio. Guys, it's pretty much anyone's race. 46-2. White Abarrio on the inside. Looks like it has horse in the gray. Zandon just swung wide. Come on, get through on the inside, White Abarrio. Get through. Now what do you have? White Abarrio just cut the corner. Get her number. Zandon on the outside. Not sure he's getting it. Right now it's White Abarrio. Get her number. Mind Control. I don't know if Zandon's getting there. Come on, fight White Abarrio. It gets at least a win. No, it's going to be Mind Control or Get Her Number. Mind Control, Get Her Number. Mind Control. Mind Control. What mud? What mud, Pete?
What mud?
With Mind Control, his last start ever goes out a winner. Zandon, a disappointing 4th.
See, I guess the one thing I said that was useful was when you get Mind Control in a fight, man, he's tough. And he fights down the lane no matter what. He broke beautiful. He got a perfect spot behind Cheap Speed, which is always, you don't need the lead if you're sitting behind a 58-1 shot who you assume you're better than. So having the 7 sort of sit the pocket or sit right behind, he did what he was supposed to do. Yeah, the hell with the owners. What do they know about their horse?
Man, I don't. Kyle, let's get your quick thoughts here on this race.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's like I don't know if you saw it on the rate while the race was running, like I did. But actually, Zandon he got in behind. I think it was Get Her Number, and he threw away like he did like the kickback or something like that. He was closing up to Get Her Number, but just pointing a really nice run. Speaking of Get Her Number, a really nice run coming off of 2 weeks rest for a California horse out here. So especially really ran in the slop. So credit all to him. But Mind Control, like Pete said, an absolute fighter, and what a way to go out.
I mean, Pete, Get Her Number actually took a slight lead, I would say, mid-stretch.
Yeah.
Mind Control just fought back. Credit to Pete Miller. This was a huge effort at a big price. Probably didn't deserve to be that big, but fantastic ride also. What I gather from this race are several things. Mind Control is his game as can come. What a great ride, by the way, by Johnny V, who put this horse in the right spot. They're watching the head-on here. Well, I was watching the head-on. They just took it off. Fantastic job by Mind Control. Outlier really messed up the race for me, selfishly. If Outlier wasn't sent hard, I think White Abarrio gets the lead. I don't know if he wins. Pete, the inside has not been the place to be today. White Abarrio, I mean, people are saying, Howard, White Abarrio, no excuses. I can understand that argument, but the reason why there's a gaping hole on the inside, Pete, is because they were staying off the rail, right? So
yeah,
on purpose, I thought White Abarrio actually backed up my opinion. I'm very happy with his effort. He ran huge. He was on the worst part of the track, lost by 3/4 of length without getting the lead. I think the main story, obviously, other than mind control, Pete, is Zandon, who was a little bit in tight on the backstretch, not comfortable. Is it the slop? He just didn't fire. Does he want longer? I mean, he lost by what, 2.5, 3 lengths, but you have to be disappointed if you're the connections here.
Well, a couple things on what you said. First of all, you see the message from Matt Miller: "Go out for a great dinner tonight and send me the bill." Trust me,
Wow.
I got some room in here, Matt. We might break the bank if you really want
He
to.
said he's not kidding about that, Matt. So, Pete,
But
get
no,
that nice steakhouse in the area. I recommend you take the whole family out there.
I know I shouldn't have ate as many carbs as I did for lunch. I would have left some room if I would have known that was going to happen. I would have had a salad or something. But the funny thing, Howard, what you talked about. So if you base it just on sort of figures, mind control and get her number are right there with Zandon. White Abario seems to be a step below these horses, and that's the way he ran. He ran his race, and he's just a little bit behind some of these horses, and it showed today. He just couldn't get there. Zandon is an eternal disappointing horse for some reason. Like, he runs a decent race. The funny thing was, when you were talking to Chad Brown on Tuesday, didn't it get the sense that they originally thought about, hey, he's had a long campaign, we're not really sure we're going to go? Like, I thought I got the sense that he wasn't necessarily, he sort of said he was training well enough to sort of keep him going, but he had also had a bunch of races, especially for what horses do these days. I mean, he's sort of run a pretty full season. So I wondered if maybe he just tired.
I did not get that impression. I'll just be honest with you, Pete. I sort of got the impression that they thought he liked the turn back and it was a good spot. And I
agree. It was a good spot, but I didn't know. I thought maybe I heard it different, or maybe I'm misremembering though.
Misremembering. I love that. What a great phrase that is from back in the day. Don't get me started on that. I think they were pointing to the spot. I know they weren't planning on going to the Breeders' Cup. There wasn't a race in the Breeders' Cup that they really liked. So I don't think they have any excuses other than maybe the wet and a little bit weird trip on the backstretch. I'd have to watch it again. I think he angled out into the clear, though, in the stretch.
No, I can't see an excuse. I just think he wasn't good enough today, it's just weird, too, because he usually – I mean, he always hits the board, obviously. I mean, this is his first time off the board, which is funny because it's probably the worst field he's faced, and it's his first time off the board, which is, has to be disappointing for the connections. So now you wonder, now you almost have to just completely reevaluate what you do with this horse. And maybe they should have had him closer. Who knows? He was back, but again, it's a short field, cheap speed up front. He should. I don't think there's any excuse, really. I think he has to.
No, okay. So Kyle, sorry. Let me take this off. Christine Race. Kyle, I'm going to put you in some owners and trainer shoes here. You have a piece of some horses with Crown's Way Racing. I have some horses with the Delphi. Let's put the ownership shoes on here, Kyle. If you were a part owner or had some control of Zandon, off of this effort and knowing what is potentially in the race in the Pegasus, would you point to the Pegasus, Kyle?
It is a really good question, isn't it? Because like we've been talking about, it's not the.
That's why I get paid the big bucks for, Calvin. What the hell?
What it looks like from the edition of the Pegasus. Well, that's right. Horse owners, we get it, right? But but it's just gonna be it really is going to be up to the connections. I really do enough in this fact that he didn't run a very good race today. Disappointing as Howard is his nose down.
Kyle, I'm gonna mute you, Kyle. You're all over the place, Kyle.
Hey, Howard, you need to pay for Wi-Fi just outside of your office there. I mean, what's going on at this place?
Pete,
I mean,
I don't know how much
spread it out a little bit.
Pete, I don't know how well you know about technology, but since we're in the same house, I'm on the same Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I know. You must have like a little cheap router that only works right next to you. I don't know what's going on there.
I think it's his camera. I think he's using the camera for the computer. He's not using. I don't know. Pete, I'll answer my own question. like Kyle's surprised I'm asking a good question. I mean, what the hell? It's only episode 211 here, and somehow we've lasted.
Well, good question was a bit of a stretch. I mean, it was a pretty obvious one, but we'll let it slide. Go ahead.
Well, one of the reasons why we lasted is because the great picks by the wonderful Pete Visco, who has now had two picks in a row. Correct, Pete?
Yeah, two
There
for
you go.
two.
Great job,
Sevens.
Pete.
I'm rolling sevens. If there's
Rolling.
a crap
And
table.
seven's the number today. I'm watching Gulfstream on the channel. I should bet the 7 right now. Actually, I love the 1 at Gulfstream, but anyway, people don't believe in me probably anymore. I'll answer that question for myself, Pete. I would absolutely go. I mean, it's $3 million. The horse is feeling fine. Why wouldn't you go? I mean, I don't. I guess you have to see the field, right? You got to see what happens. But I would if the horse is feeling okay, I would personally go.
Yeah, going and losing isn't a thing as long as the horse is.
Yeah.
The horse isn't just worn down from a long season. But I mean, I'm looking at the field, at least the probable or possible field. You got Proxy, who ran really well last time that you had. Cyberknife, who had run well, but also is coming off a pretty grueling season. Informative. Cody's Wish, Simplification, White Obario, Charge It would be interesting. O'Connor and Brooklyn Strong. Not exactly the 27 Yankee lineup there. So I think I think if he comes out okay, take a shot, see what happens. But I don't know. I don't know what you do with a horse like this. He could just be a perpetual, let's hit the board type and just doesn't get one of these big grade 1 wins under his belt.
Yeah. I would go. Is the 7. Guess who won at Gulfstream?
7?
Take a guess. The 7.
7?
What is going on?
What were the odds?
Anyone at home right now, no matter what track you're playing, bet the freaking 7 horse.
What were the odds? Was it a long shot or was it a?
So wait, we've seen 7 now.
By the way,
maybe it's the first time started like 4-1. I think.
Wait, by the way, Howard, my top
7-2.
choice in the last race is the 7, non-coincidentally.
In the last race at Aqueduct, the 7.
At Aqueduct, I have the 7 Skylander, who's sitting at 8-1.
Well, I mean, what am I even looking at my PPs?
Yeah,
for?
don't even look. Just
right
bang
here.
that horse right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Kyle, I'm going to try to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back on, Kyle, here with the sound.
Here you go, Howard.
We'll try.
There you go, Simon.
Hey, Simon.
Simon, play Skylander right here. You got to do it.
There you go. Kyle, I'm going to let you have a say here. I'm going to take you off the screen. Final thoughts, Kyle, about what we saw today with the great stakes. We saw, obviously, the Demoiselle, which we didn't see. Very talented sister in Malathot, but we saw the Remsen with a bit of an upset there with WL. We saw Dr. B win. And then, of course, we saw Mind Control 777, Kyle, in our races today.
Nothing like good old slots to pull you back into the casino later tonight. But yeah, that sounds like optimum. But like I said, I mean, it's one of those days for me where it's kind of, you're right. It's the worst days. It's where you're right there. I had Dubinell in second. I like Dr. B. Zandon ran disappointing, but those are the worst days. But, you pull through with it, and hopefully we can get this last horse home. I know Howard loves the 5. I'm now on the 5 that the 3 scratched. So, but again, it's one of the best racing days we have after the Breeders' Cup. So, horses like this come out.
Absolutely. Kyle, take it off the screen. Really, thanks. Apologize to everyone. We didn't get to see Kyle's lovely mug today, but we get to hear the docile tones of a Kyle Roscoe at least. Kyle, thanks for joining the show, buddy. I'll see you in a few minutes in 2 rooms over. Thanks, Kyle. Take care. All right, Pete. Your final thoughts today, other than the weird numerical 777. What does this pick 5 look like? It's going to pay. It might be okay.
Yeah, I didn't even actually. I'm glad you said that. I didn't even look.
I'll look right now here.
Yeah,
to your 7. Are you alive, if I may ask?
No, I did not play. I was busy this morning.
You just gave all these winners. You're not alive, Pete. What the hell?
That's why they're winning, because I have no actual cash on them. I mean, otherwise they would be all. So it's funny because the first leg of the pick 5, by the way, the 7 ran dead last, so they're either top or bottom. So we'll see where it's going here.
Pick 5 to the 7 is 1,500.
1,500. I know. That was my top choice.
That sounds like about your dinner meal that you'll be signing to Matt Miller.
I mean, that's probably my half. I'll have to see if my wife wants to spend another 1,500, and then we'll sort of double it up. And
I believe the Don Perignon will be flowing at the Visco dinner table tonight. I'm sure Matt won't mind. The pick 5 to the 5 these pay okay. And the reason why they pay okay is because Zandon lost and because
Well, we said
Tuskegee Airmen. So 2 of the 3 possible singles we talked about lost. And out of fairness, we talked about this on the show Thursday. I think the one single we were most confident with did win, and that was the Damoiselle. We didn't show the race here live, but the other 2 we were a little bit shaky on. And it's amazing what happens. You can beat Big Chalk in a horizontal sequence, Pete.
Yeah, we talked about that where, that's all you need. You try and beat 1. If you can beat 2, fantastic. Then you're cooking a little bit. Yeah, I feel bad. My pick 5 in the power picks, the Caveman and my A ticket, didn't have the 7 Dubonel. That was the one that I didn't have. And again, I probably would have put that horse on the grid at least if I knew it was a sloppy track going in. So I feel bad just from a pick standpoint, but I had the 3, 5, 7 here. I like the 7. Again, I didn't look at it from a sloppy perspective, but I think this was a day where at least we saw one horse who could potentially be a superstar in Julia Shining. That horse needs to clean up some of that early race difficulties or greenness, but I think that horse can be anything once she straightens some of that stuff out.
For what it's worth, on the bottom of the screen are our picks. I'm going to take them off. There's our picks, everyone. I'll let the scroll run one more time. The 3 is out, by the way. These are our picks from our Thursday show. So those of you looking at the bottom of the screen for our picks in the last race at Aqueduct, which we're not going to show because we're going off the air here in just a minute. The 3 horse is scratched. I really like the 5 in this spot. I think the 5 will wire the field. Pete, as we go off air, the 5, my top choice, will probably just run off the screen, but I won't be here to share with everyone because that's the way it goes sometimes.
This one's a he. He wired in his time on the slop. The one time he ran in the slop, it was an off the turf race. He did wire the field. So if that happens again, you'll be happy. So hopefully for you, that'll come true. There's a couple other horses that ran in the slop, so keep an eye out for that because I didn't look at the odds. What are the odds right now? What are we saying? Major spin 5-2. Yeah. My 7 is sitting at 7-1. The one thing I liked there for anyone listening was the Englehart Dylan Davis combination. So this horse has been a little bit up and down. 31% wins with Englehart Davis combo in dirt sprints. Now, this horse doesn't have any experience on an off track at all, so we don't know if that's going to work. But I did like that trainer jockey combo, and you're getting a nice price right now.
There you go. Pete Visco, fantastic job. Congratulations, sir, on your picks. Enjoy that nice gourmet dinner on Matt Miller tonight. You'll have to show us the bill or send us the feedback on what happens there. And knowing Matt, he is serious. Let's just say that that mind control win worked out well for him. It's no one's. I don't want to give more detail. It's no one's business, but I'm just looking at his texts.
Good work,
Matt. That worked out just fine for him. So
nice work, Matt.
So anyway, this has been a fantastic show. It's been episode 211 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure when we're going to be on live next. It might not be till next Thursday. This is why you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is also why you need to hit the notification bell so you don't have to keep checking to see when we'll be on. So we will have obviously a show next week, possibly 2 shows. We really appreciate you joining our live broadcast on Cigar Mile Day as Mind Control in his last start wins the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. For Pete Visco, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz. Everyone, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.